week ago, I was on a road trip with Bear Independent Media Tour back on the East Coast, and like driving out there, uh, going to different places, driving through different highways that I used to be on when I was over the road truck driver. It it gave me this nostalgic feeling, almost like, oh, if maybe if I was tired, I may have ended back up in New Jersey because I would have just gone on autopilot. Instead of heading west to go home, I would have headed north. That would have been really awkward if I would have done something like that. And I am so removed from living on the East Coast. It seems completely awkward. It seems like it's a complete world away from from my normal. Been out here in Oklahoma since 2020. Was that November 17th, 2020? That's when we officially moved out to Oklahoma. I think if you were on Instagram, oh, light decided to quickly turn red. Uh, if you were on Instagram at that time, I made a post as soon as we crossed over into Pennsylvania on I-78 saying, peace, we're out of here. Don't look for us to ever come back because it just wasn't a plan for it. And as New Jersey was in our rearview mirror, we were looking forward to heading west and all the life adventures, the baby that was, the chunk that was in Miss Lovely Dudley's belly. Mine is all over the place. And what that move meant. But it didn't seem like we were going to a place that was unfamiliar. It felt like it was home. What didn't feel like home was what was in our rearview mirror. For a while, we felt like once we got back to New Jersey, when she would ride on the truck with me from state to state, she would. When we got to the East Coast, we started to feel this cloud of heaviness. It started to get really stressful. We couldn't figure out why. That's why we made that plan, had that talk with the father of what do I need to do, and it was get out of New Jersey. Well, where am I going? I don't know. Well, get rid of all of your things that you don't need and go. That's what I did. I made a plan to go. The aim was Kansas. Where? I don't know. Try and find some land to homestead on. That was the optimal plan. But then we got that calling to Oklahoma. And like without question, time to go. So now, being on that trip on the East Coast, like looking around, it's like, this feels all so familiar. And going through Tennessee and like hitting the Carolinas, it was like all familiar because I was running all of that on a truck. You'd be on I-81 north, like, okay, well, going to Fort Chiswell in Virginia, that Flying J truck stop, that was my normal. That's how I traversed that part of the country. But it felt like a world away. It was almost like a dream state, that experience. Like, oh, I remember when I used to be here. I remember when this happened. I remember when that happened. I remember when I was parked at this truck stop and I was trying to go to sleep, but the wind was so bad, the truck was just rocking back and forth with a downpour of rain because it was a tornado right on the other side of the mountain. Those are all these little memories that's like, oh, yeah, that was cool, that was cool, but it's a total world away. That wasn't where, that isn't what I recognize as being close to home. It's when I started to get back out here, coming through Arkansas. It's like, oh, I'm just an hour or two away. This is a great feeling. And everything in that rear view mirror of the East Coast wasn't me anymore. I live out here in the middle. My son was raised out here in the middle. My oldest son lives out here now. This is where he's from now. The East Coast isn't where we don't have roots in the East Coast. We have roots here in Oklahoma until the Father picks us up and puts us where else we need to go. Now just imagine for those that did it on horseback, or those that walked it, or those that got out here by train, or like it's so amazing when you look. Like, I'm driving on pavement now. People had to plan to get out here to the middle or continue going all the way to the East Coast. Like, oh, that's going to be a year's journey until you get way over there. Like, oh, if we don't leave by this week, we're not going to make it because the winter's going to hit. Then we're just going to be stuck. Right? Okay. I don't have that stress. I have a motor vehicle. I can pay for gas. I can do this. I can do that. But when those people made those trips and journeys, they turned around. It's like, that's a total world away. I'm never going to see that place again. I'm never going to see those people again. So when you said goodbye, that really meant something. When you wrote a letter to someone, you would hope that it would get to them, and then maybe a month or two later, you would hear something back from them. Or you would get news that they no longer exist. But it's a place you never see again. I wonder how many of you have moved somewhere and left everything behind. All your connections, your contacts, and all of that stuff, your experiences. Like, oh, I went to school here, I did this, I did that. But that was in that state, in that country, in that different life. Because that's not you anymore. You don't live there anymore. Even if you were to go there now, it would look totally different. That's not your existence anymore. Those aren't your people anymore. Those aren't your stomping grounds. That's somebody else's now. Because you live where you live now. But yeah, I wonder if any of you have any types of stories like that, where you got up, grabbed everything, and just went and never looked back. Or if you did go back and visit, like, this feels weird, this feels awkward, this isn't where I'm supposed to be. That actually happened to football. He came out here, wanted to go back so bad to visit. He went out there to visit. It's like, oh, the people out here aren't doing anything. Like, there's nothing for me out here. The people that I call my friends, they don't even hang out together anymore. And we don't have anything in common. They're still doing the same thing that they were doing when I left them, and I'm on to bigger and better things. I was so proud when he told me that. Made me extremely happy. There are going to be these seasons in your life that People are there just for those seasons. You have to accept that. You have to be able to let people go. Just like Tyler Durden said, just let go. Because you don't want to be pathetic. It's not his exact quote, but for those that know, you know what he said. I hope y'all are having a blessed day. Thank you for watching. Shalom.